Hey everybody, good morning. It is 8:30, bright and early in the morning. I'm still a little under the weather, so apologies if I kind of go silent for a moment. Yeah, so it's 8:30 in the morning on the 29th of October. We are getting close to Halloween, and so far it looks like an interesting Halloween is going to be among us. So, um, before I get into any of this, it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and this is always just my opinion on the market. So we're going to take a look at ES. We're going to take a look at NQ. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin as well. And so far, it's kind of a shaky open. So I'm going to take a look here. Let me go ahead and pop into the chart. We're going to take a look at the bull case and the bear case because, at this point, since we have broken down below our level of invalidation, which you can't see, let me move this over. There we go. So this is our level of invalidation right here. Since we've broken down below this, we've kind of fallen below our important levels, and we look like we're just bleeding here. So I'm going to take a look at all this from a bear's perspective. I've been looking historically at this from the bull's perspective, and this is our bullish view, right? So we've got a lot of garbage over here. So let me just kind of clean this up. I'm even going to remove some of my boxes that I put on here. All right. And so this was my bullish view. This too was down here. Basically from this, what we thought was a wave 4, we had basically a 1, 2. At this point, I still think that we are potentially in a wave 4 because we go all the way back quite a ways. Okay, and this looks like a correction in the making for sure. I don't think it's done based on the invalidation level that has been breached. Okay, so let's pull this guy off. We'll get rid of the channel. I'm going to move the logo down here. And again, just kind of taking a look at this, we had some signs of strength, obviously, down at the bottom. Let's remove this guy. And let's just kind of just take a look at this for just a moment, and let's see if we still could potentially have some kind of a bull case in here. So we've got our wave 1, a zigzag here into wave 2. All right, that I think we can all agree that worked. That worked out pretty well. And then from there, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here into the 3. Now the big question is this the 4? Well, if this is the 4, our new level of bullish invalidation, and we're going to take a look at this not just from bullish invalidation, we're going to take a look at this from bearish confirmation as well, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But that level at 31.95 is pretty important to hold. If we break down below that, then where do we go from there? Well, really the next level to be paying attention to is going to be all the way down here at about like 297. And why do I say that? Well, again, we've got this 1, 2, 3, right? So let's just take a Fibonacci pull based on this. Let's just assume that this was wave 2 and that was wave 3. Okay, we would expect it to come down to the 382, and pretty much that's exactly where it did pull down to. Again, just kind of trying to reconfirm the bull case here. Actually, we didn't quite make it to the 382. So are we going to make it down there? It actually seems pretty likely. This takes us all the way down to 314. 314 seems to be a place where this is probably going to be heading, which means that this wave 4 is not done yet. So if wave 4 isn't done yet, then what kind of account do we have on wave 4? Well, let's go ahead and go over here and take a look at the bear case. I always have this bear case. I don't pull it out very often because people don't like it, but that's okay. So if we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have a potential for this to either be an A or for this to be a 1. Okay, and from there we've got a 5, 3, 5 to take ourselves up here to the top. This came all the way up to the 887. based on, let's go ahead and put the 0 and the 1 on here so that we can see 0 and a 1. Okay, what do we have there? We have it from the top right here at 35.92, and then from the bottom all the way down here 31.96, and we went all the way up to almost to the 887. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. Downside target, basically we're taking our trend-based fib extension, and let me just go ahead and just pull this over so you can see where we're getting all these numbers and levels from. From the top there to our next dominant pivot, which is right down here. And again, looking left, we're just going to kind of try and peg this up here to the top, as close as we can. And that takes our 100% equality down to 31.57. All right, 31.57. We were just talking about that over here, with that being the 382 at 31.41. All right, so that's the 382. That's also the 100% equality for basically this being an A, B, C. All right, we've got 5 waves here, and then we've got a 5, 3, 5, and then we should have 5 waves down as well. Now, I've got my red case for this being like extremely bearish, going all the way down to like 28.96. I don't think that's going to happen. But it does look like if we don't hold some of these important levels, and really kind of like the low from today is what I would really be watching. This looks like we're going to be going a little bit lower. So again, if this is, a 1, 2, 3, so let's just take this measurement from the top here, and we have our wave 1 again looking left, and then our 2. Wave 3 was all the way up here. It looks to me like we do want to head down here, in this area. This is really the next place that I'm interested in buying. Unless we see a bounce today, I mean literally today, today's Thursday. If we don't see a bounce today, we're probably going to come down here into this box. And this takes us down to 30.75 to 31.50. So you got about a 75-point range here for us to be seeing a bounce. Even with this being the potential for a 1, 2, 3 going way, way deep, this still has the potential to bounce in this area. And if this is going to be the A, B, C, and not the 1, 2, 3, right? If this is a 1, 2, 3, we're kind of expecting this guy to eventually find its way all the way down again at about 2,900. If we find our way down here, we're going to be going lower, and that's just the way that it is. This green box is the next area that I'm interested in attempting to make buys, but for right now, the trend does seem down short term. Unless we see a really, really good bounce today. We have to see an overtaking of 33.12. 33.12 is the important level for us to break up above. And again, let's just talk about flipping support and resistance here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up SPX because I do not believe I've got any drawings or anything on here. So let's just talk about SPX for a moment, and let's look at it on an hourly. So what did we have on here? We talk about this kind of stuff occasionally. We talk about support and resistance levels. Here was a resistance level. Okay. Then we also, let me get my redraw tool on here. Then we had a support level. Okay. And then down here we also have a support level to also pay attention to. I'm going to pull these guys over because it's important. What we have here, basically, we have a break, a retest, and a pullback. And then when we had that, we basically confirmed this as support. We finally did break up above, and then we had a retest, and then we moved up. Okay, so this support level was important, and we flew through that yesterday. Okay, we flew through this support level yesterday. So pull this guy over. All right, that level, which is at 33.27, that level is important for us to push up above. All right, so if we push up above that, that's a strong sign. Right now, it looks like it wants to come back down here and retest 323. That's what it looks like it wants to do. And again, just kind of looking left, what do we have looking left? Well, we've got some support over here, but we're looking for a support and resistance flip. Right now, we've got on the way down here, let's just take a look at this. We have this level, which is going to be resistance. We have, actually, it's the same level right here, which is now going to also be resistance. So we've got resistance here. It's going to look a little better on ES because this is not taken into account after hours trading. But we've got to start flipping support and resistance levels. I would venture to say we've got another important support level that we have to overtake, which is now resistance right here at this level right here. All these different levels, we've got to start taking them out for this to show a change in trend. And I would imagine that moving averages are probably supporting some pressure to the downside as well. Let's take a look at NQ. All right, NQ, we are finding support at an important level here. So let's just pull this guy over here at the 618. So let's just assume again that this is a 1, 2, right? So, or if this is just an A, B, right, instead of a 1, 2, again, this is the bear side. You could count an A, B, C, and then I mean this is hard to count up here. This doesn't look good. So I guess you would really have to count the 1 being right here, and this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be your 5, 3, 5 to get up here. Again, this move down is either a 1 or an A at this point, and then we have an A, B, C to take ourselves either into a 2 or a B, and then from there, this is really, really messy for a count. So this is what has me, I don't know, a little perplexed. You can see that we did find support right here at the 618. So this would be a logical area for support, but it looks like what it really wants to do is move ourselves all the way down here to 10,479. Let's put a fib on this and let's just see if we have a little more confluence in that area from the top to the bottom. And again, we pulled ourselves right there for just shy of the 887, just like we did on the S&P. Just like we did on the S&P. And we were talking about 12,150 to 12,200. We were talking about that for a long time when we were all the way back here. I closed that short, but so I made a decent amount on this, but I'll be kicking myself if we do find our way down here. Let's see where that negative 236 is. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get rid of my redraw, and let's take our template, go to our Elliott wave template, and we have our negative 236 sitting here at 10,265, which is right between the 100 and the 123.6. So again, just like we have on the ES, down here, I would say somewhere between the 100 and the negative 236 of this fib pull is where this is probably going to gravitate towards. I would say that we're going to have some gravity that's going to try and pull this guy down here. I would expect we're probably going to have a little bit of a relief rally because, this looks like a move could be potentially completed. So in other words, if we have from up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that'd be a 1, and then a 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is the bottom of this, we should be pulling back a little bit. We should be pulling back, and likely it pulls back to the 50. So again, we're still looking at this with bare eyes, but where would this thing be falling back to, or really pulling back to? Assuming that's the bottom, right? Making a big assumption there that that's the bottom right there at 11,125. We would expect this thing to come back to the 382 or the 50, okay? 382 or the 50. So up here is where we would be cautious, if we do actually make our way up here. And how do these waves move? Well, we saw it on the way up, right? So we have this pullback, this correction here, A, B, C into the B. So we would really expect to see some kind of an ABC correction moving ourselves up here. So we have potentially A, B, C, and then we move down from there. So again, if this is an A, B, C, we would expect this to be some kind of a 5, 3, 5 to take ourselves down to Um, Probably 10.5. 10.5 is likely where this thing could potentially go. So I'm being very cautious. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been pretty interesting. I think it's in the middle of doing a pullback at the moment. Taking a look at Bitcoin on Bitstamp, yeah, we're at 13.1. We're at 13.1. It looked like it was pulling back right before I was starting this thread here, this video. Let me move over to my other chart because that's the one that I've really been keeping up to date. Again, we were talking about this yesterday, right? We were talking about a move down and then a move up, right? It looks like this move down did complete, and it looks like we're trying to bounce. And when we do the bounce, um, actually, it kind of looks like it wants to move down just a little bit more before it moves up. But I'm still going to be looking down here in this big green box. And we talked about looking left. We talked about looking left here yesterday. So I'm still sitting in no Bitcoin position. Yeah, I'm holding some alts in case we do find some upside moves. But the majority of my net wealth in Bitcoin is just sitting in synthesized um, currency, so Tether, basically, Tether, USDC, those types of assets, stable coins. That's basically where the majority of my assets are sitting right now because, yeah, this thing could pop up, right? So again, let's just throw a fib on this, and we're taking this guy from the bottom, right? A move up to the 50, maybe the 618 would make a whole lot of sense. And then for a move down, the negative 236 is sitting here at about 12,672. I'm more interested in looking for a move down to 12.2. I'm sorry, not 12.2. I mean, 12.2 is very possible, but 12.4, 12.450. That's really where I'm looking for this thing to go. And again, we talked about this yesterday, but really what we're kind of looking at is this A, B, C. I don't know if it comes all the way up here to the 618. Maybe it does stop here at the 50. I kind of would expect it to stop at the 50, but maybe it's going to show some strength, get some stops, go up there, and then we see that last move down as more of like a 1, 2, 3 support resistance flip and down. And then we finally make our way up. Okay, still targeting, a significant upside move, right? We talked about this as well. We talked about the significant upside move up to maybe 15.3, 15.4, right? That's still in the cards. That's still in the cards. Selling up here at 13.6, 13.7, that worked out. Now I'm looking to reaccumulate back here. I made a mistake on Netflix. All right, so let's talk about Netflix. Let's get off of Bitcoin. Let's talk about Netflix. What mistake did I make on Netflix? Well, I sold at 568 and I bought back at 525 and then I bought some more at 495. We're sitting here at 486, right? So I first bought back way back here. I mean, it was a good accumulation move, but I wasn't patient. I was not patient, right? So I made a lot on this, but now I'm suffering some drawdown. It's better than me buying down here where I bought and then just holding through this pullback, right? So at least I sold up here and reaccumulated, so I mitigated my losses. But I should have been more patient. I should have waited until after earnings. So that's a lesson for you guys. I should have waited until after earnings. The count is still bullish. Just for the record, that count is still bullish. We found support here at the 786. Okay, so the count is still bullish that we could see ourselves up to. Again, our target for the upside was 650. That's where our target was, and that can still happen. And it probably will. It probably will. Netflix had some bad news about subscriptions that are disappearing and things like that. So, that wasn't good for it. But I think the count is still bullish. If we break down below where my original entry was here at 472, probably I'll get out. Probably get out because our invalidation level is going to be down here at 456. I don't want to give everything back, right? Right now, I'm still profitable on the position. Finding support there at that 481 level, maybe I cut losses at 481. I haven't really made that decision yet. I'll let you guys know on the Discord if I change my mind. But that's kind of what I'm looking at on Netflix. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple has been suffering, but Apple's just pulling back. and we hit the 618, you guys. So we kind of expect something like this to happen, and we're pushing up overnight. Pre-market's up, what, $1.30? That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. We came down here, we hit the 618. So, man, I got to tell you, Apple looks good. Apple looks good for some upside. Yeah, we have let's see here, earnings, and that earnings is what, today? I assume it's not pre-market, but usually Apple's earnings are after hours because they're a California-based company. Let's see here. Let me just go ahead and pull up the calendar for today. Let's just take a look at some of the companies that are going to be doing earnings today. Um, so we know that we have Apple today, and here we go. We got to take a look at Shopify, Moderna. Let's take a look at Spotify, Royal Caribbean. Ooh, that's going to be real interesting. Anheuser-Busch, Comcast. I'm not going to take a look at all these, but I do want to take a look at some. I especially want to take a look at Dunkin' because that one's really interesting to me. But let's see here. I'm looking for Apple in this list. And okay, well, at any rate, I think Apple's going to be good. I think Apple's going to be good, and the reaction to the earnings is going to be what defines the trend. If the reaction to Apple's earnings is bullish, then I say the trend continues up. Right now, we've got a decent gap up right now. I think it looks okay. Let's take a look at Shopify. Haven't looked at Shopify in a long, long time. Man, a huge gap up. Then on their earnings. Okay, earnings for Shopify looks pretty good, and I would expect it to because of the market that they are in. Shopify's market is good, so let's go ahead and pull this out. We'll do a pullback here. Take a look at this just real quick here. Got to plug in my headset. It's going dead. Let's take a look at this on the daily because Shopify has just been on a crazy rally. It looks like it wants to go to all-time highs again. It doesn't look like there's any amount of bearishness here to really pay attention to. What I can kind of see from right here, just looking at it, looking at the waves, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4. We didn't violate this guy over here. And then we should see a continued move to the upside. And the reaction to the earnings looks pretty bullish. The reaction to the earnings looks pretty good. Just taking a look at this little wave structure, let's take a look at this guy down here from this bottom. We've got a nice 1, 2, 3, A, B, C to the 4, and then we make that last move up. And I think it's potentially just starting. I think Shopify could be a big winner in 2020 and 2021. And we'll take this guy, we'll pull him out there because this looks like it's more like this. And let's just see, because there we go. Let's pull that guy up there. Let's put a fib on this and let's see what we can get out of this. The 382 all the way down here, which is, I mean, maybe it does come back down here, but I don't think it does. That would be a pretty significant pullback, even on a log scale. If we put it on a linear scale, this thing almost came back down here to the 382. So, I mean, it looks good for a continued move to the upside, and really that target up there would be about 1350. 1350 for the target on a linear. Yeah, I guess 1564, probably not likely. I would take a look more at 1350 for Shopify. I do want to take a look at Dunkin'. I think it's DNKN. This one's probably, yeah. So I believe they were in some talks for acquisition, so that's probably where that came from. The reaction to earnings, I guess we will find out. Let's just see when they're going to be doing their earnings. There's Dunkin'. Sorry, give me just a second here. All right, so yeah, the results, the reported earnings for 93 cents per share. The consensus estimate was 81 cents per share, so that was good. And the market is not reacting negatively to it. We've obviously got a huge gap here, and if we look left, I mean, we have basically like a blue sky breakout. I mean, this is crazy. It was rallying hard, and we're talking about Dunkin' Donuts, a freaking donut company. Now, granted, they've kind of turned themselves into a Starbucks, but this is huge. This is a big deal. Will this gap fill? It probably will. It probably will, given some time. I wouldn't bet on it though. I wouldn't bet on this thing, filling this gap anytime soon, especially with options. They're probably crazy, crazy, crazy high in volatility, and that which means their premiums are going to be higher, going to get some IV crush. So I wouldn't bet on it. But if this does fill this gap, I'd be buying. I'd be a buyer all day long on this. All right. So what else do we have that's important? Let's see here. Shopify, huge growth. Moderna, of course. I mean, we kind of would expect that to be down a little bit. Spotify down. Let's see what Spotify is doing today. Spotify, yeah, gapping down because they had negative growth. Royal Caribbean obviously had negative growth. Let's see what RCL is doing. So this is interesting. So Royal Caribbean had negative growth, negative 231% growth. And they had a huge decline in revenue as well, 33.7 million in revenue, compared to the estimate of 112 million. So that's a crazy decline in revenue. But it doesn't look like we are having a huge negative reaction to this, which is really quite interesting. My opinion, people are already betting pretty bearish on this, so I would expect this isn't going to fall as hard as how some other companies may have been. Kraft Heinz doing good. Let's take a look at KHC Kraft Heinz because this one had a decent pullback. But this one this one looks like it wants to move up. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B. Yep, this one looks like this is what's happening here. So basically from up here, I think we're in the middle of an A, work up for the B, and then we can go down for the C down here. That's going to happen much later though, because what I can see right here, I can see a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here into the A on a higher degree. And then we've got a 5, 3, or maybe a 5, 3, 5, but basically an A, B, C correction into that B. And let's just see where this thing could take us. I think that Kraft Heinz is probably going to go up. Based on what I can see here, I could be wrong, of course. But I think this is probably going to move its way up. I'm going to take my fib on this, and I'm going to go, again, look left from that top right there to this bottom right here. And we hit the 50. I think we're probably going to go up and hit the 618, which is going to be right there at $33.38. So from where we're likely going to open, what do we have from there? And there we go. That 12% potentially up from where we were at. Stop loss, pretty clear, is going to be right there at this bottom from yesterday. So if you want to take this trade, let's just take a look and see what this would look like. Stop loss at the low from yesterday, and a big sell-off. Upside target is going to be sitting right there at that 618. So you're talking about a 2% loss for potential. Well, actually, it looks like a 12% gain. I mean, that seems pretty good. I'm going to move this guy over so that we can see this a little bit better. There we go. And then from there, I think we do go down. Again, I had my C almost perfect down here, 2665. It looks like that's where that's going to end up going. So if this completed that move up, then this correction is going to take a little bit of time. And where are we going to find ourselves down? Let's go ahead and just pull another fib on this. Again, look left and look left. And that 618 is sitting at 2625. The negative 236 on this correction is sitting at 2665. Boy, that would be really fantastic to see this guy come down here to the 618, wouldn't it? Talk about this stuff all the time. I mean, and it's no coincidence that these are areas where we will gravitate towards more than likely. Okay, and if we take ourselves, a little peek C over to the left, we have a little bit of support and resistance clustering right here. Same thing right there. So this level that we've got about right here, because you've got this right here, you've got this right here, you've got resistance right here, then you have support right here. And that's right at the negative 236. So I would expect there to be enormous support here if and when we do get there. And what this looks like, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we would have an A, a B, then we go up. We go up for the C. That's going to take ourselves up to 33.38. Then we come down here, and then we see a bigger move up. Okay, see a bigger move up. So this could be something that we should be keeping our eyes on. All right, so it's now 9 o'clock. I've been rambling here for about a half an hour. So maybe you guys found some use in this. I'd really love to see some collaboration in the chat. If there's a company you want me to take a look at, if there's an altcoin that you want me to take a look at, something that you want me to analyze and take a look at, I'd be more than happy to do that. I'm just kind of pulling things out of earnings. I'm pulling things out of thin air. And so, yeah, if there's something you want me to take a look at, throw it in the YouTube chat next time. And of course, if this video did help in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening.